Here with me, Saskia Boddeke. Hello.
Hello.
Multimedia artist, film, theater, opera director. I could go on and on. Many projects you're involved with. You're a special guest of this year's edition of CAMERIMAGE. Together with Peter Greenaway, you have an Artuum Mobile exposition here. I want to ask you about. Firstly, I want to ask you about hope. And the fact that in this exposition, Hope is a girl. And we have 4 riders of apocalypse. And the only person standing in their way is the girl named Hope. Do you believe that girls or women movement, in a way, women empowerment and the fight for women's rights could have even broader repercussions of somehow being a positive answer to all the dangerous populism and all the threats really we're facing today?
I have to disappoint you.
You don't know if I'll be disappointed. Just answer truthfully, and I'll be okay with that.
I can answer the question from a lot of angles.
Okay.
My first answer would be when I was looking for someone to represent hope in the next generation, and because it is a subject that really is close to my heart, I felt I should find the person playing hope, performing hope, close to home. So it's our daughter, and she's a girl.
Obviously.
So if it was a boy,
it would have been a boy.
It would have been a boy.
Oh, okay.
But the fact is that it's not only about hope; it's also about the 4 horsemen. And I asked an actor I've worked with a lot to perform the 4 horsemen, also because he's comfortable with her. They know one another very well because she has been in all our projects. He's been in all our projects. And also that I wanted to make very clear that he's performing a horseman and that he's all the horsemen at the same time. And because this is a project we've done before, and in the project before, it is very clear that the horsemen and hope are also one. But we couldn't do that here because it's now all in one space, so we chose for a different ending.
Yeah.
And but that was that was the intention, that you can understand that hope and the horsemen are one, and actually that we are all hope and horsemen. And
at the same time.
At the same time, yes. And that the words we give to the horsemen are words from Trump, Erdogan, from Netanyahu, the leaders which are democratically chosen. And it happens to be that the right wing is men. And it's very difficult to find female leaders who are right-wing. Of course, you had the Tea Party at the time with, I've forgotten, Palin, I believe.
Sarah Palin, yeah.
Yeah. So shame on her.
But even recent studies in Poland showed that among young voters, there is a very small percentage of young females, of young women, supporting right-wing. Many young men,
didn't know that.
But young women more to the left.
Yeah, but maybe I hope. That is my hope for the future. That also it is. I am already from a much older generation. My parents didn't think I was going to study. They had a hairdresser salon. I was really raised to take over the hairdresser salon, and they were really distressed I didn't do it because it was a family tradition. And they were already very feministic because I was a woman taking over the shop. Because with my parents, with my father and his father and his grandfather, they were all men. It was the tradition the men would take over the shop. But when I said, no, I'm going to Amsterdam, I'm going to study, it was like, no. And when I had the results from my primary school and they said, oh, this is a bright girl, she should do the gymnasium. My parents said, no, that's not necessary. She can go to the lower, maybe to learn the household because that's very important. So that is already a big difference with what there is going on now. Girls are educated. And I think by being educated, they will be stronger and more conscious about what the position is in the world, and that it can be a very strong one. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that is not everywhere yet, but yeah. I can see a sort of new movement. I'm not sure if it's feministic, but it is a sort of awareness of the power of women, which I hope will, because I went through the first and the second and the third movement, and then it went down, and now I see a different consciousness, and I applaud that.
You didn't disappoint me.
Good.
So no worries there. But I also I asked you about hope also because there is this like many philosophers and commentators of modern life, Slavoj Žižek included, are pointing out that we live in a time that it's very hard to imagine a future different than what it looks now, and if we do imagine it, it's dystopian. It's pessimistic, and like the age of utopia is gone. We really are finding it difficult to imagine a better future. And when I was thinking about hope in your work, I thought that maybe you are trying to go into different direction, to try to put some, imagining of some brighter future than the four horsemen, or I hope. Well, I fear that there are more than four horsemen, unfortunately, right now in the world. Yes. But this is the context which appeared in my head when I saw that.
Yeah. Well, I think also my focus is very much on let's look at reality. Let's look at what we have now, and it's pretty amazing. We live in a sort of dream world already, and I think a lot of people are very fearful to lose it. And therefore we become very right-wing. I can see it in Holland, the people who live not near the cities, but outside the cities, they've never seen a refugee. But they are the strongest ones against it, because they are afraid that it will kill and destroy how they live. It's fear. But I think it would be very good to look at our reality and how rich it can be if we embrace one another, and that is my hope, that we are able to look at the reality as it is now, to understand it's quite amazing, and that we can keep this amazing reality if we let other people in, if we unite, because if others don't have, it will always make our reality bad, because how can you enjoy the good when you know so many people are not in that position?
Yeah. There's one Bruce Springsteen song when he sings, "Leave everything you know and carry only what you fear," like describing the the right wing and not only the right wing, but this sort of fear management and this political tool. So this is I think we have to go into opposite direction than this very nice phrase.
Because I think also in the exhibition it is the girl Hope repeats it over and over again, that fear can be overcome. The moment you understand your own power, your own reality, you can overcome it and you can move forward. But it's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's for everyone difficult to step over fear.
To step over fear and to get out of your sort of, safe comfort zone and your safe worldview. This is, I think, also the problem today that, and social media increases that.
Yes,
we live in our own bubbles. We live among people who agree with us.
Yeah.
And it's not helping the democracy, and it's not helping the society, because I think we're getting more and more hostile to each other in this way.
Yeah, it is also somehow my grass is greener than yours, kind of competition the whole time. Yes. And my God, it doesn't mean anything in the end that your grass is green. It doesn't give you value to life.
No, not at all. Your works are much more multimedia works and very immersive, like sensual experience. What is, in your opinion, the main artistic and sort of, in terms of experience, advantage of doing multimedia art? Because today we have virtual reality. We have, I think the art and many forms of arts will become more immersive, more, able to give us this sort of a sensory experience, which is really broad and magnificent. So, do you believe that this is the direction we're really going, and it will be more and more immersive in VR and virtual reality? And what is the main advantage, in your opinion, of this kind of works, this kind of art, basically?
Well, I'm doing this already for a long time, and of course I can see now that I'm catched up by people doing it as well. why I started to make immersive installation is because I was still active in Second Life. That is a world on the internet, which is sort of dying, but for me still very important because it gives a lot of inspiration to me. And what I found fascinating when I was making my installations in there is the interactivity. And not so much that you are in it because you're still behind a computer, but I could really make installations there that I could creep into people's avatars, and there was no avoidance of to drag them into my story, other than them to step away. And so there was then this idea I would really like to make installations like that in the real life. So I started to do that, and I do realize it should not be a trick. You must tell something. You must have a good story.
Not only a gimmick.
Yes. And so in the beginning it's wow that you can do it, but then at a certain moment I realized no, I must really come with a good story, otherwise it's a trick. So I hope installations will go more in that direction. And I saw it last night here that people are not visiting the museum and walk through and go out, but they live for a bit in the museum. And I enjoy that very much. And I think it will be, hopefully is a future that it is not the painting on the wall and that you're standing there, but that you are able, when you visit an installation, to make your own time frame, to create your own experience, and to make your own story. But saying that, it means also that your content must give that you have many layers. I've done a lot of big installations, and always my aim has been to give everyone his own time frame, and that there is enough to be superficial, enjoy it. But if you really want to go deep and you want to stay there for hours, you are also served. So you can find all the levels in it. And it's a lot of work. It's a big puzzle. Fun to make, better than sex. So it's really amazing.
That's a strong statement.
It is. I mean, it's.
But you're
really
going to
nice.
stand by it.
Huh?
You're going to stand by that statement. Okay. So that is, I think, a fantastic. Better than sex.
Better
I
than
think that's a good phrase to a very spectacular phrase to finish the conversation.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.